The mics are back.
Back to you live. No, we're not.
We're never live.
We're never live. This is pre-recorded.
I don't know why you keep saying that all the time.
Finger guns. Okay. Technical difficulties. We had to fix that and take a pee break. So sorry for the most abrupt pause. We really got to dig a little deep into
pretty deep.
Some stuff I was pretty surprised about. And I think from what I can recall from what Micah was saying was honestly insecurity. That's what I remembered mostly.
Yeah.
Like, because of course the topic is sex, but if you have insecurities, whatever they are, sex is such a mental thing.
Yeah.
You really start to feel it, you know, when you are getting that intimate with someone.
Absolutely. Facts. And your insecurities play themselves out in the act.
Facts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
For sure.
So, I mean, has it ever gotten to a point where, or actually on the flip side, has it got to a point where you didn't feel that way?
Yeah. You just don't care anymore. You get to that point where you're just like, I don't care. We're doing this. I don't care how I look from this angle. I don't care if you enjoy it. But that's also very unhealthy because at the same time, it's like, yeah, I had an okay time, decent time, good time, you know, however, comma. I probably can't do that with a partner if I get one because they're probably going to feel mistreated and like, you know, they're probably not going to feel very comfortable if I'm just like, I don't care how you feel about this. It's about me. But, you know, that's also the single person in me. You know, I got to look out for number one because there's only one right now.
Yeah. So, okay. With that being said, do you... Actually, I thought of something different too. Like, with the insecurities and whatnot, is it all about appearance that you feel insecure about?
Actually, it's like nothing about appearance.
Okay.
I know I look good. That's what got them into the bed.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, it has... In the insecurities about physical appearance is like 10 to 20% max.
Okay.
It's about performance.
Interesting.
Performance.
Elaborate.
Please. Like, am I doing all the things that they expected me to do? Like, if you also take into consideration, like, cultural differences. Like, black women have big butts and, you know, they have rhythm and that's supposed to play out in the bedroom. And it's like, yeah, you can have all that and it not play out in the bedroom because they're two completely separate things, you know, mentally, right? One has everything to do with me and my self-expression, and the other has everything to do with a shared experience, right?
Okay.
Like, so it's like, I don't know what you want, what you like, if you like this, if you interpret it the same way.
So it's really just about you really focusing on, is the other person having
a good time?
Is that what
Absolutely.
it is?
I would say that is more than 50%.
Wow.
To the point where you don't you don't really enjoy sex because your enjoyment is predicated on your performance and you don't know how you're performing, so you're focused on performing first.
Okay, so question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're good in bed?
No.
Oh! That's so interesting.
No.
Why?
Well,
what made you feel that way?
It's not like after sex, they're just like, oh my gosh, you're the best ever. Like, I've never, ever experienced this like this with anyone. Like, unless it's like something extremely like exaggerated. Like, how would you know? Like, they're not going to vocalize it. And especially like when you're having sex, and think about it, most singles are having sex pretty early on. Right?
I have a question. Sorry, no, you can, after you're finished.
I'm just saying, like, most singles are having sex early on, so therefore they're not going to give up all their cards and sound eager, even if it was the best, right? Yeah. They're not going to vocalize it.
Okay, so how do you feel about your ability to read other people and, like, having intuition? Do you feel like you're good, or, like, do you feel that you are intuitive or in tune in reading people?
Yeah, actually. I do feel like it's almost like that intuition changes when it comes to sex. Mainly because, like, you know, coming from, like, sales and marketing and customer service, like, I can read people.
Yeah.
But when it comes to sex, coming from sales, marketing, it's all about customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
So... you're using your superpower to appease someone else, not yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just like, I'm reading you, and it's like, I don't know if I'm getting anything, or I'm not getting the response I want from you in this. Mm-hmm. So what can I do to up the response?
Interesting.
What response are you looking for? Yeah, when you say that.
Like, with sex, it's just like, it's weird because I feel like I'm going to explain a whole bunch of things.
Like,
no, it's not like, I'm not talking about, like, gymnastics, you know, like, you know, like, you need to do the split and, you know, get on there and pole vault and shit. Like, no, none of that. Like, it's more so just, like, the read. Like, usually if you think about it, the kind of sex a person wants to have if they want to connect with someone is the kind of sex that you're going to have when you can see the person's face. Usually.
Okay, yes.
Okay, usually.
Yes.
If you don't want to connect with the person, you're going to do a lot of things where you aren't physically making eye contact. Ooh. And so, therefore, you're not seeing any reactions, right? It's a different type of sex.
Yeah.
The kind of sex I prefer to have is one where I'm making a connection with the person. So I would prefer to do a lot of positions where I could still make some type of connection, even if I'm switching positions because it just feels better.
Yeah.
Like, I want to look back. I want to see your reaction. Yes. I want to make that connection.
Yes.
And so you kind of know what you're looking for. Everyone knows what they want to see. They want to see someone enjoying it. They want to see someone physically enjoying it. Sounds like you can tell what enjoyment's supposed to look like from sex. Right? So it's just like
interesting.
When you aren't getting that back, right? Or like you're not getting it consistently.
Yeah.
So you can be getting it and then it stops and it's like okay, so something worked and then it didn't work. And I realized this early on.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's one of those things where you start adjusting your performance, right? Yeah. Like women will fake an orgasm for someone else's pleasure.
Yeah.
They'll also do it to end sex.
Not guilty.
You know, well, but you know, but you also have been in relationships for years on years with you know people.
Yeah.
So it's like you never really put yourself in a situation where you're having a partner that you don't really know.
That's not true. But yeah.
Well, okay. Well, that may not be true.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't really know them, and you do want to make a connection, or you are trying, because you can also just not try and not like care. Because I have had that kind of sex too. It's like if you want, it's like the experience that you have in your head. If you want that to come into fruition, then you try to create that fantasy at least for the other person.
I have a question. Have you ever? Well, I because, you know, of course you're talking about situations where you're having sex with people that they're not, you know, your significant other. Yeah. These are people that you're, like, maybe dating around.
Yeah. I've only ever had one significant other.
Yeah. So with that, then do you have conversations with these people about the experience that they had?
No, because when you are single,
that's not like common.
It is not common. And if you start having conversations about sex, then they turn it, even if they thought that it was someone that they can like see themselves with, they immediately change. It's almost like, it's like they no longer think of you as that person with longevity. You are now the fuck buddy. Because really? I can share this stuff with you that I'll like. And if you care for it, great. Maybe that will work out for us. If not, then instead of feeling hurt or judged, because you don't know how that person feels about sex.
Yeah.
You just know they want it. Everyone wants sex.
Yeah.
You know, like someone like me, I'm pretty confident in a lot of areas of my life except for this one. So how would they not know? Like, how would they know?
Yeah. So, here's my thing, because this is what I'm gathering. Like, it sounds like you are feeling insecure because you're thinking about, okay, like, is this person having a good time?
Are they receiving it well?
I feel that I know what having a good time should look like. And so you're thinking constantly, like, okay, you're trying to gauge, right, if they're actually enjoying the sexual experience with you. But also you're not having any of, like, the conversations after, because that's, like, not really a normal thing. If it's just like, you know,
no,
if
you
it's
wouldn't.
unless it's like an actual relationship, like it's an established, like, boyfriend girlfriend.
If you had, like, if someone had those conversations with me, and after sex, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, it's too early. And the thing is, and that's the thing, it's like, it's too early for you to critique me. This could have been a fluke. Yeah. It could have been a fluke,
but
right?
So here's the thing I know with, like, guys, is sometimes they have to pull themselves out of the experience.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about, like, oh yeah, I see that they're enjoying it, and sometimes they kind of change their face, or they kind of, like, adjust themselves, so you don't really know if they're enjoying it. Guys have to unfortunately pull them out,
pull so much
make it last longer
to last
please
longer,
you, because that's the objective, because otherwise in their brain.
So it's not, you guys are thinking too small on this.
You think so?
You guys are absolutely. You're thinking, like, oh, like, in the moment, you know, like, I'm gauging because he's pulling back. Of course not. I've been having sex for a while with multiple partners. Think about it. When you're single and you're dating and you're an adult, like, you're not, like, you know, like, young. Because when we're younger, we wait to have sex longer. Okay? Usually. When you're younger, you wait to have sex longer. Think about it. Like,
I love having you.
When you have somebody, like, if you have someone who's, like, 16, 17, right? They're not having sex randomly with people, usually. Usually. We
didn't know the same
people.
Usually
having sex with someone they consider
if you're a listener and you're around this age, please tell us. Usually, are you not having sex? Because I want to know. But it's,
usually they're having sex. Teenagers are having sex with people they consider to be someone they might be in a relationship with. You know, it's like, oh, like, I like them, you know, like, we'll play it out, and they're having sex with someone they like, and it's usually that person continuously for a period of time, you know, and then they might move on. But it's usually, like, when you're younger, they're not, like, sexually liberated and having sex with everybody at 16, 17, 18, 19. Usually. Now, it does happen because, you know, 19, that hit. But when you're in your 20s, when you're in your, I'll say mid-20s to late 20s, because that was my experience. You can be having sex with people, with partners who you have been on maybe 1 to 2 dates, right? What are you talking about within those 1 and 2 dates? And you're also gauging the person. So what are you talking about within those 1 and 2 dates? And after the second date and you have sex, do you think it is appropriate to coach that person on their sexual capabilities after your first interaction, right? Not knowing how
that's a question for the audience.
You know,
so y'all can
please
leave your 2 cents, comment below, you know, all that good stuff.
Because one thing that I've noticed that, like, when situations like that, when you have sex early on, and I'm only ever having sex early on with these people, and I know that sounds weird, but it's like, when I say early on, it's like within the first few dates. I haven't had a serious relationship or a relationship really with anyone.
I don't think that's weird.
I don't think that's weird.
But it's like, I haven't had a relationship with anyone, and I usually, you know, after a few dates, if I'm interested, then if I want to, then of course I'll go ahead and do it. But it's one of those things where it's just like, we're so new, and this is our first encounter, and you're coaching me. The way I look at it, it's like when you have sex that early on, it's usually just two types of sex. Usually. It's usually I'm horny and I am extremely attracted to you and I'm just playing on that emotion now.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, it's like infatuation. Then the second one is like, I'm very interested and I'm playing on this emotion because I want to see where this can go for us. Right? So when you have that like feedback conversation with someone who, after 2 or 3 dates, and you don't really know this person, right? You don't know their like ins and outs and what makes them tick and stuff. Going in and having sex with that person, and if I was deciding to give feedback, like that person could have all types of reactions. It's like, oh, like feedback, like this is a one-off time. This is never gonna happen again. Oh,
no,
like, how do you know?
I get that.
I'm like these are all of the reactions. Yeah. Like one-off time, never gonna happen again, or that was a fluke. I was nervous. Like you have all of these things, and then it also kind of creates that tension early on in this new relationship.
Yeah.
Like I can't satisfy this person. So why continue? You're new. I can just move on and go on Tinder and meet someone else. You know? Yeah, so it's like you also kind of cuckold yourself at that point where it's just like, oh, well, you know, like I really like this and, you know, maybe we can try more of this. Then it's like, I don't really know you. So the first thing I'm going to do is maybe be a little bit more defensive. Like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. But in the back of my head, I'm just like, oh, crap. Okay, so they mentioned a lot of things that I didn't do. Even if they said they liked some things, I didn't do a lot of that stuff. So it's just like, okay, now it's more pressure next time I have sex, if we get that far, to do all these new things you just brought up. And you don't even know if I am capable. You know, it's just like, and vice versa. You know, so it's just
you're saying that a guy has had this type of conversation with you?
No, like if I had these conversations with them, I've never been sexually satisfied by anybody, so they wouldn't have these conversations with me. I'd have these conversations with them. I don't have these conversations with them because these are the reactions I've been getting from men from the last 6 years.
That you tried, once you express yourself.
It's like they see that I wasn't, like when I didn't fake an orgasm, right? And I've always faked an orgasm for the most part. If I didn't, then they seemed extremely frustrated with me. They give up. They quit on themselves. They quit on themselves. They make it a whole big deal instead of just like the sex sucked. And that's also a huge thing too. And it's just like all of a sudden, like if I didn't get off and I was just like not working with them, then it was more like, you know, their whole demeanor changes. They become mean, dismissive, uninterested. You know, and I didn't even say anything to them.
And that is their insecurity.
Yes.
Like their reaction or the way that they're acting and how frustrated they are, how dismissive they are is their problem and their insecurity coming into play. Yes, and I think like, you know, for you guys listening to this, I would say this is why we wanted to do this.
Exactly.
These things go untalked about and why people continue to act that way, because I don't think that is right. And I think it's unfair to everybody involved. Like, I don't know. I don't believe in being super, like, dismissive.
Me too.
Like, you know, to me is just so...
Like, to me, it's all about, like, ownership. It's, like, like...
accountability.
Exactly. Like, to me, it's, like, if this wasn't as good as it was for both you and your partner, this is an opportunity for growth and better sex. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So...
It's just that it's hard to get to that point because in order for you to get to that point, you have to have continuous sex with someone you're comfortable with.
I don't necessarily think so. I mean, yes, I agree with you because that will create like the comfortability between people. But I think as what she's saying, but if there's just more people talking about these issues, that
just like in general, period.
Exactly.
Like it's like no one is having these conversations. Like I
That's true.
I don't think guys are having like
exactly. They end up
their conversations are worse. I feel guys sometimes
exactly that they internalize it as like they're just inequipped. This is my shortcomings.
I think just in like general, I don't know. For me, like I would love for people to just like have these types of conversations out in the open.
Make it a lot easier.
It'll make it a lot easier. It'll be a better experience for you, both of course, and for whoever it is that you choose to engage in sexual activities with. If we just had more conversations about sex.
If we just normalized it. But again, if we just spoke about it in terms of just like, oh, this is what works for me and this is what works for you, and no one is taking it as like personal, like this wasn't a shortcoming for you. It's not that your dick was bad. It's not like, because I feel like that's usually what they equate it as, like, oh, my dick is bad, like my dick is small, blah 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 blah. Like no, no. Exactly, because that's just what they get clowned on. This is what like they end up like attributing. They personalize it too much.
So much insecurities in the bedroom. They are so insecure. So I think
they project it onto their partners.
I think it makes sense why they act that way is because they're just projecting that insecurity, which is why I would love for these types of conversations to just be a little bit more regular.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think that that's going to happen.
It will never happen. So like, it would be nice.
Someday in the future. It would be nice, but...
in all honesty, too, like, those conversations would be more well received when you have, like, that rapport. And it's just like you almost have to have the bad sex and act like it didn't happen so you can continue building with that person and get to the level of comfort to where you can have that conversation after the first few times.
Nah, to be honest,
you don't know. You could be talking to your soulmate and they just... especially if they're not good at it, why do you think, if they're not good at it, why do you think that they can take criticism? Not everyone can take criticism. Even the best people can't take criticism. So now they not only have to be better at sex, but they also have to be able to receive criticism for the one thing that they're not that great at. It's just like, that doesn't make any sense.
Like a negative.
I know if it was me, like, if I had an encounter with them and I was like, okay, it wasn't that good. Oh my gosh, they're probably never going to want to talk to me. Now I'm internalizing it, right?
Yeah.
It's like the relationship, or like at least the connection I had with this person.
Yeah.
And all of the good is now lying solely on the sex. And it's just like, okay, well, the sex wasn't that great, because I was nervous, or I was like watching I was doing my old routine, right? Watching them, dictating my performance on their faces or whatever. And it just wasn't, and I wasn't trying to actually enjoy being in the moment. And now it's like they're giving me feedback on this poor performance that I'm literally going off of how they're performing.
Okay.
And so it's just like, okay, so now the sex not good and I should be working on these things, or I should do this more. But in real life, like, I didn't like anything that you were doing. It's just like, okay, maybe we should save this conversation to 3, 4, 5 dates down the road, to where now I understand you and I get it, and now I'm more comfortable and we have sex again, and it's better because we are now more comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let's gauge it off of that experience.
It sounds like
a lot of work.
It sounds like you have a lot of anxiety.
Can I tell you my secret for good sex?
Yeah.
Fuck whatever the person you think is feeling and focus on yourself, and like whatever feels good for you will naturally translate to your partner. Because like, yes, I've been with the same partner for like a long time now, but there was a transition where like our sex just got like right here to the nines, and like for me, what that really was just really focusing on what felt good for me. Because what really felt good for me, like the vagina just does its own shit, to be honest. It's like, I think you get caught up in your own, like, what you think they're trying to feel. And Isel kind of touched upon this earlier. Like, guys will pull back. They will try to,
they
like...
They need to.
They can't,
they need to keep up. So
exactly. So it's like, try not to, like, read upon, like, their own expressions and just... really hone in, like really like if you have to take charge, like if you have to ride that fucking dick, do fucking so.
I have a question.
Yes.
When do you guys watch porn, and when did you guys start watching porn?
Early.
Oh, me? No, you early.
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
okay, I'll go first this time.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty early. Like again, I grew up in a very like my mom was watching things that like incited me. It wasn't porn or anything, but like, you know, it was the sex scenes between like movies and stuff, and I knew like that was it. I want more of that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me specifically, the first time I saw P and JJ go in there, pretty early, like 10.
10? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then was it like a regular thing that you started to... Yeah. You're like, oh, fuck yeah, I want to see more of this.
The moment I found it, like, sorry, Dad, I found your stash.
Yeah.
I watched it.
Oh my gosh, I would die.
I found it.
Yeah.
I watched it.
And you,
I lived
Micah?
for it.
Young too. I have older siblings, so when we're supposed to be asleep,
Yeah.
and I hear the TV on downstairs, and you go down there, and it's like your brother, and there's like Cinemax is on, you know, after dark.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, what are you watching? You know, like,
oh God, fucking ruining everything.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was also my first experience too. Like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And after seeing it, you know, making a huge fuss as children do,
Yeah.
you know, I was also intrigued.
Yeah.
Didn't tell them that, obviously. But, you know, kind of doing the same exact thing that I was catching them doing, but, like, smartly. You know, not being caught.
Yeah.
Watching Cinemax.
So after that, you're like, oh shit, I know
like, what is
exactly
he
what to
watching?
do now.
You know, you
I
see
know
the
what to
logo at the
look
corner
for.
of the TV. And I'm like, where's that logo?
Yeah. I need
You
to go
know?
to that channel.
Yeah, let me go to that
This is a
channel.
good ass channel.
To be honest, they like the youth today don't even know how good they have it.
They really
that they
don't.
have
They have
like
internet.
their smartphones, the internet. They can just look at it on their own. Like I said, I had to rely on my dad's like
Stash.
porn stash.
I
And
heard
it's weird. It's fucking weird.
Yeah,
like
it's weird.
watching like your dad's
'Cause you're-
porn star and like going off on the exact same shit. And it's just like, I'm sorry, but this is the only
This
shit
is
I
the house
have.
of porn.
I heard in
Yeah.
Utah that they are I think it's in Utah.
Yeah.
They are trying to pass this thing where like they're banning porn on cell phones.
Jesus Christ.
Don't go to Utah.
Jesus
I don't know if I'm
Christ.
wrong on this, but I don't know. You know, the
I
internet.
believe it.
It could be a lie. I don't
How can
fucking
they
know.
ban the internet?
It's not the internet. It's just porn. It's
Porn on cell phones?
It's
so
probably
that-
regulated through data, like in
Yeah,
your cellular
exactly.
stuff.
So
Oh my
that
gosh,
like kids,
censorship.
so that kids are not
doing
watching
it in their
it's a
own
kid
access,
setting. We can change it on the kids' phones.
No, I
No,
think
no,
it's
no,
just
no,
in
no, no,
general.
no. Yeah.
So adults can't get their porn and they're paying for the data plans?
On their phone. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
You know what?
Yeah.
No way. If I'm paying,
I need my porn.
if
on
I'm
my
paying,
phone.
I should be able to
Exactly,
access
that's
it
the title
from
of this
anywhere.
One of my faves to save on there. You know what I'm saying?
I need my porn on my phone.
Just saying.
Oh, gosh.
Just saying.
Wow. That's crazy though.
Yeah.
That's like backwards.
Yeah. Question for the audience. If you guys are comfortable answering all of these sex questions.
I know, it's a lot.
When did you guys start feeling comfortable with sex? What was that experience like for you as well? And like, did you relate to any of the things that Micah was talking about? And if there's any advice or just like what's your input on that? So
Yeah.
Please don't leave me hanging, guys. I know you're out there because I'm speaking to you. You know.
Yeah. How do you like it now? Upon all of this self-discovery, from masturbation through all of your sexual encounters, do you feel you have a good grasp on what you enjoy?
Yeah. I do. I know my body very well. Boop, 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 boop. I have a manual.
Dialed
Do you guys have a routine of like, okay, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Again, this is something I'm like
bottom.
On Sundays, we do
I'm a
these
bottom.
specific positions.
I get what you. Again,
On
I think that's
Wednesdays, we
like
do these
that's the
Yeah,
thing
no.
about like being in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
I'll say, I'm like, I don't know when I'm getting it, on Monday or Wednesday. So that's not applicable to me.
It's a raffle,
Right? Like,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for me, I think it's like since I've been in a long relationship,
Yeah.
me and Jackie have been together for 10 plus years. That like it does get that way, you know. It's not like just a
'Cause
cliche.
you know it works.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
works. And then like, but at the same time, I make it vocal. I'm like, we can't like just because
Do you ever
it
want to
works.
explore or like be like,
Yes.
hey, we gotta break out of routine? Like,
Yes,
You just
and
say
then
it?
to be
Do
honest,
you bring it up or
I-
does he bring it up?
it's always me. To be honest, because I have always
Jackie's
been.
tan. That's why.
I know.
It's his aura.
And-
We'll tell you. We'll tell you later.
We'll tell you
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
all
yeah,
about the
yeah,
aura.
yeah.
Jackie is just a matter of fact guy. This is
He
I
knows
know
what
what works, and this is what we're
Systematic.
fucking doing.
Yes, 100%.
And-
Data driven. All of that. Yeah.
And again, this is something I've told Easel before, but
Yeah.
I grade every sex I give A to B. I feel like just like again, when we started going out, there was like a communication that I didn't know how, because it's weird, right? Like
Mhm.
at the beginning of it all on how to talk about sex. So I didn't know how to talk about it, but we're both Asians, so we both know what it means to be graded. Unfortunately, that was
It's
the common
not
ground.
Asian. It's Asian.
So I knew how to get him motivated to get
He's
him
trying to
to
get
do,
straight A's. A plus
to get
plus.
exactly. So
what
I
kind of
know.
extra credit I gotta do? Like
AP classes.
exactly. How do we get it to the A? So
Yeah.
to me, that's how I felt more comfortable just talking about like our sexual chemistry. Because obviously it's good. It's decent in the beginning, nothing bad, nothing awful. But like there was something in me that felt like we could take this like to the next step. And I'm sure he probably felt it too, but also didn't know how to communicate about it. So in the beginning, that's how I kind of like brought it up. I'm like, okay, this was a B minus for me.
Mhm.
And that's not bad. That's below, like, that's average,
Mhm.
whatever. So, like, you know, it started to take like mental notes. But even for me right now, there's still some stuff that I still want to like, I'm still trying to formulate in my head. How can I communicate that I want this for this? Because I'm still trying to get over like my shyness or whatever.
Yeah.
So
even after 10 plus years.
even 10 plus years. So
Yeah.
I totally understand what
Yeah.
you mean, where you feel like you need like
because
a
you don't want to like
third
attack
date.
their ego.
Exactly.
You don't
Like
want
this
to
is
like
literally the first
exactly,
time
yeah.
we've touched. And then I'm just like, yeah, that's a C. You know, they're just like, what the hell? Okay, well.
Yeah, it definitely didn't start like that's not how we started having
Mhm.
sex. I didn't. First of all, like the first time we did it, I wasn't like that's a C. I
Yeah.
didn't introduce the grading scale until like maybe like 2 years
Later
after,
on.
3 years
Okay.
after. Yeah.
Mm.
See, and that would make sense.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Because, like, also at the same time, when you're dating,
Yeah.
too, like,
Mhm.
think about it. You're one of the fish in the sea.
Mhm.
They're just going to throw your ass back and get another bass.
Mhm,
You know?
mhm,
Like,
Yeah.
like, not that I'm a bass, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, if someone did it to me, I'd be like, okay, let's just
Because
try
like,
it again,
I think
you know?
for most people it'd be like, oh, the chemistry
Do
isn't
you
right
mean-
here, so
do you
it's
mean-
justified to like
Mhm.
try again.
And if you're talking sex too early too, they may just think like, oh, okay, well, this isn't someone I can take seriously relationship wise, because to be honest, is still so taboo
Yeah.
that when someone is open about sex, then they think that this
They
is
can
a
read you
sexual
wrong.
relationship.
They
yeah.
can read you
Oh,
wrong.
but Saturn,
can-
it changes to
They
that.
can make an
and only
assumption of the
becomes
type
that.
of person
Yeah.
that you are. So
Yeah.
it's like
Because I know I do
yeah.
it. Like, I mean, come on. Like, if you're single and you have the option between Tinder and Bumble, right? And you're on
Yeah.
Bumble, and yet you're
Mhm.
getting someone like, okay, yeah. So, like, as far as sex, like, tell me about your sex life. Tell me. I'm gonna immediately think like, oh, there's another one. You know, another person who forgot how to find Tinder on the Google app and they downloaded Bumble.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not interested in just having sex with you, sir.
Yeah.
Like, it's like literally like what you said, like we misinterpret. But in the era of online dating, and that's how we're really meeting people, you know, especially with COVID.
Yeah.
We're meeting people online. And if we're talking sex early on, usually it's like, okay, this person is about sex.
That.
Yeah. And so it's hard to have those conversations without being, you know, misunderstood. And or you know, being judged as like the sexual person, because if I'm the person that's having that conversation early on, they're going to think like, oh, okay, well then, you know, if you're talking about sex, you could probably really put it down. And now I'm just like, oh my gosh, even if I could, I don't want the added pressure. You know, I'm not an average person, but I'm a normal person. You know, I'm not like Meg Thee Stallion. I'm not a fucking, you know, pole dancer with all the extra skills and upper body strength. You know, like it's just like I'm a normal person.
Missionary up and down.
Yeah. I'm like, I can show you a thing or two, for sure. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't want you to have that assumption. I want it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, I want you to be surprised.
Yeah.
By that thing.
That's so interesting.
Not like you assuming and then being let down or disappointed and then like.
Do you think that? Do you think that happens? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, like it's been a very long time, but someone has once told me that I was bad to my face. So guys, like you're having this sex conversation. This conversation is real for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Who are out there trying to, you know, get their tips and their triangles wet. And navigate these waters.
That happened to me too. Like I was told I was bad at certain things, and again, I had to. Again, it was offensive at first because I felt like, oh my god, what an attack! But at the same time, it's like they're just speaking their truth.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. So and depending on what I did to them, it probably sucked because I probably wasn't caring about how they were feeling about it.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why I was like, okay, you can't just go in there and just do you and fuck the other person. The other person is doing you. You know, you have to contribute. That's also one thing. I had to turn the page on contributions because I always called myself a lazy lay. Because once I got to the part where like sex wasn't satisfying, so why the fuck would I put in all this effort?
You did say that none of your partners have sexually satisfied you.
Yeah, if there's anyone out there who has had sex and you guys aren't satisfied, you aren't like getting off.
You can get a refund.
We're back and recording. And do you remember what you were talking about last?
I do. So I was asking you guys, the fellow listeners and watchers. Watchers.
Yeah.
I can speak English talk. I was asking you guys, do you feel the need, for those of you, because I know it's not everyone.
Yeah.
For those of you who aren't satisfied, usually, do you feel the need to put in extra work knowing that you're not going to get any gratification out of it?
Because they're not sexually satisfying you.
Yeah, like you're not sexually satisfying me. Why jump through the hoops? So that's when I became a lazy lay. I called myself a lazy lay because I wouldn't do anything, and there was certain things I can tweak if I was on the bottom while not really doing much and actually have an orgasm. And I was just like, I would prefer that than to do all this extra like gymnastics in the bedroom and you leave feeling satisfied, talking to, giving me A's and, high-fiving your friends, talking about how awesome I am. And then me going and masturbating after sex.
Can I ask you a question? Like, on the times that you said you came, like being a lazy lay, quote unquote, did they complain about you or something? What made you think it wasn't a good lay for them?
So, for them, by that point in time, I didn't care about them at all.
Yeah. That's okay.
It was right around the time when I was working a hell of a lot, Sacramento.
Yeah. But I'm just asking, is like, what made you feel like it wasn't good for them?
Just, I guess, after my first sexual encounter, like my first time, it was just really bad. Like, it was bad. It was my first time, so it was bad. It was just bad sex. Your first time having sex is usually not that great. You are usually just like kind of sitting there. And everything after that, up till a certain point in time, was literally just a replica of that. Mm-hmm. So I knew that it wasn't good. And I was younger then. Mm-hmm. And then I got into relationships and I was having like relationship sex, which is completely different. Better. Yeah, it's different. It's better. Like you can do all types of shit sex. And you're not really worried about it because like you ain't leaving me. Look at me. You know, so, you know? But then like after that, yeah. And then like after those relationships ended, it's almost like I went back to having that, you know, pre-relationship sex, you know, where I was insecure because I didn't know that person. I knew the person I was with in the relationship. Mm-hmm. And I did try to pull some of the stuff that I was doing with him on other people once that relationship ended. And it was okay, but I was young, he was young. And I noticed that it was very like novice stuff. Yeah. And so it was one of those things where it's just like, okay, well, I don't even want to kind of try. Because also something for me, one of those things is I'm extremely competitive. And if I don't feel like I'm going to win, then I won't do it. Like I'm one of those, if it's not grade A, then it's non-existent. Because I won't do it, you know? And you know that. So it's just like, for me, I'm like, okay, well, I still want to have sex. I'm sexual, you know? Like I'm a sexual being. The urge is there. And you're cute, you know? So let's do it. It's just... Once we got to the bedroom or the car or wherever we were at, then it was just like, let's just be realistic here. It was one of those things where it was just like, okay, well, I don't really know how this is going to turn out. Yeah. So I'm letting you know by not actually letting you know. But like mentally, it's like in my head, I'm talking to the person. I'm letting you know this probably won't be that great for you. But I'm hoping for me, I get what I need. So that's like kind of the development. So it was more so... me kind of creating the sense of you're not going to be satisfied because I'm not going to do anything to satisfy you. Not really. Like I'm going to do my best, but just know it probably won't be the best. So I kind of created that, but I also had gotten feedback, you know, during that group of just terrible times after your like losing your virginity, that it wasn't very good. So I kind of carried that with me throughout like life. Yeah. Like in the entire time.
It's almost like
throughout life up and like to this point as well.
Yeah, up until last year.
When you had your sexual awakening.
Yeah, I got tired of fucking with lames.
I love that.
Yeah.
I got a guy in my life. He wasn't my guy. You know, like he was just a guy.
Why not?
He was a guy that like, because there was no commitment. I'll say it that way. There was no commitment.
Okay.
So like I had a guy in my life and it became more regular with this one person only. So I guess it was more monogamous for the sexual purposes for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't choosing anyone else. And the sex, I was with someone I got comfortable with them as a friend. And the sex got really good because, like, I don't know what it was. I guess, obviously, I was comfortable, but I had already shared, you know, my weaknesses and strengths, and they were a shoulder when I needed it, and they were also someone I was going out partying, drinking with, and, like, coking and joking, cracking jokes. So, it's like, when it came down to sex, it was just like, hey, let's do this. You look good tonight. What is that? Come over here. Give me a kiss. Like, flirtation was fun. And flirtation is always fun for me.
Yeah.
But the lead up to, like, what comes after flirtation, I tend to start sweating and getting nervous and anxiety-ridden. And my confidence usually combats that, but not always, you know? And with him, it was just, like, the flirtation was fun again. And, like what led up to sex, like the possibility of sex, maybe not having sex, like all of it was fun. So when sex happened, it was great. Whether I wasn't doing anything or if I was doing everything, it was always good. And that had never happened.
Would you say that would be the first time you were sexually satisfied?
No, not the first time. I don't want to say, like, I know I've been saying
but
it's never happened. But just more
consistently, maybe?
But more consistently. I had a partner that I was getting satisfied with each time. Now, I did fake an orgasm with this guy still.
Just once?
You know, because sometimes this shit just needs to end. Okay? So,
really?
for me, all right? Like, Keep in
That's
mind,
so
I'm not
interesting.
having long sex all the time because I'm not being satisfied, right? So I'm already ending it when you start feeling sore and all that stuff. So, like, even when you become satisfied also in bed, like, you need to take those short, like, breather breaks sometimes, you know, get your body back where it needs to be able to go again.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah. And if you're dealing with someone who is, you know, blessed, you know, physically, you may not want to go a couple rounds. So it's just like, so it's just like, you know what? Well, I'm just going to end this because it looks like there's no end in sight. So I need to just make it known. And even with that, like, for me, it got to the point where I didn't even feel the need to fake an orgasm. I was able to vocalize where I was at. Like, okay, like, I'm good. Like, I don't need to do this anymore. The comfort was there. So, I don't know. Like,
that's what it is. I mean, you said the comfort was there. And I think what it boils down to is you have to be comfortable.
Feeling safe.
To get the best sexual experience that you can have. Sex is mostly a mental and emotional experience and taking place in the physical realm. So, like, when you are not emotionally comfortable or you don't have a deep emotional connection with the person that you are having sex with, then there's really a big barrier to having a good sexual experience. So that's really what it is. It's like really all emotional and mental. So I think the point that I was trying to get at is, like, make sure that you're emotionally there with whoever it is that you want to engage in sex. If you are looking for really amazing sex, you have to be emotionally there with the person. If you do choose to have sex with someone that you're not emotionally there with, just know that it's not going to be amazing. It's not going to be that good.
It will suck, guys. It will suck. She's sugarcoating it. It will suck for you and everyone involved. All right? I mean, and communication. I do want to add communication, too.
I would say
communication's key.
Communication is key. I wouldn't say it sucks. They're still good.
There's still some good.
It's not going to be like the earth-shattering.
It's not the thing you're like... like peak high. Like, there's definitely levels to it, and it's definitely, as she said, communication is key. I think it's all about feeling safe. It's all about being able to
emotionally connected.
Exactly.
But, you know, that also speaks to a different level of sex, though, because that's not just physical satisfaction. Like, you can be physically satisfied. Like, I'm going a little off topic. Like, think of, like, sex addicts. You know, they're physically satisfied with not really any emotional or mental connection to the person. But that's also why I feel like people tend to need more sex because they're not also connecting on that mental and emotional level.
Well, you can... I mean, there's a difference between having great, amazing, awesome sex and being physically satisfied. Right? Like, when you have mind-blowing sex, there's like a synergy, right, between you and that person because you have that emotional connection already established. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, like, I wouldn't say it always sucks because I've had great sex with people that I wasn't in a relationship with, and it was great. I was physically satisfied, but it wasn't like fucking mind-blowing. You know what I mean? But it's still good, right? So that's what I was trying to say.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Wait, were you gonna say something?
No, I think I just want to add on to that because, again, as you said, like, for me, I also believe in that. I don't necessarily think that you have to be in a committed relationship and in, like, a long, like, timeline, like, in a long relationship in terms of time to have, like, good sex. I think you can have good sex with a stranger and someone as long as
like you're just getting to know.
Yeah, as long as you're present in your own body and you just take care of what you need to do. Same thing with, like, what Micah is saying. Like, she has enjoyed like a good amount of sex if she just focused on herself. And that's why I just wanted to know, how did she know that it was bad for that person? Because like, for me, when you're just taking care of you and it's good for you, what I'm thinking is it's also good for them.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
far, for my feedback, it's also just been good.
In
for
all
them.
honesty, I don't know if it was bad for them.
Yeah, because she's never
It's just
asked.
in my head.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm already
yeah.
going in there just like, fuck them.
You're already
You know?
discounting it. Yeah.
It's all about me, you know? But so, and I'm just already thinking, like, if I'm thinking that way, then it's probably going to suck for them, right? Because
No,
I'm
that's
not
the case,
thinking
though.
about
That's
the
not the
effort put forth for them.
No, that's not the case.
not
But
the case.
yeah, so I don't know if they probably enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I only ever gotten like bad feedback.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And those are
Early on.
douchebags.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was early on, you know, like younger, you know, first kind of couple tries at it.
Mhm. So yeah, you didn't really have the experience either.
But
Yeah.
I was, and I think I internalized it the way I did because each situation I was going into was very similar to those ones.
Gotcha.
So it's like when you feel like when it feels
There's
like the
some
same
sort
as
of-
the last, you
Mhm.
think it's the same shit.
like there's
you
a
know?
pattern, and that pattern must have
Mhm.
been you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I see where you're
Mhm.
coming from. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I feel like what you're saying is absolutely true, though. Like, don't get in your own head and make the whole situation uncomfortable for both you and the partner because you feel as though, or you have some preconceived notion that you're not going to perform or you're not good enough. You're
Mhm,
obviously good enough, which is why they're in the bed with you, or in
Exactly.
the car with you,
Mhm. She keeps adding that
in the
card.
bar with
I
you.
know.
You know, like it's just like
Okay.
this is why they're
Mhm.
there because you already
Yeah.
got that far. Like, don't sell yourself short. And
I think that's what it was like sounding like earlier. That's why I was saying that, like, dude, I think you just have like a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I think
hella.
you make a
You
lot of
internalized it.
assumptions.
Yep.
You make
Yep.
a lot of assumptions because of your anxiety, but you don't actually know if that's the full truth because you never have the chance to
You're
ask them.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, you know, like one of the first like sexual encounters that I had, like, I didn't feel it at all. It was very, very confusing for me. But they had the time of their fucking life. Like,
that happens.
Like, literally, I went on the phone with them and I was just like, did we really do it? Because I didn't feel nothing. But they were like, yeah, we did. It was so good. And that's why I'm just saying, like, you think like it's not good for
That
them.
actually
But in
happens a
reality,
lot.
for guys, I feel like this is just me.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, so please let me know if you also feel this way. If you're a guy, let me know. Please validate me or invalidate me. I just want to know. I just feel like for men, it's super easy. Like, everything feels good. It's just like, slip it in. Ooh, I got my
Everything's
dick wet.
sensitive, right?
Like, the hard part is getting the girl off.
Yeah.
And that's why when Izel said,
Ooh,
like, the guys
yeah.
always have to, like,
They have to
pull
back
themselves
to keep
back
up.
or else
Yeah.
they're gonna come in 2 seconds. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally, if it was
Yeah,
up
that
to
happens
them,
a
they were
lot.
literally just like,
They say that a lot.
so please
you
let
feel
me know
so
if I'm right or
good.
not.
I do? Is that why it's over? That
So
must have sucked.
We're gonna do this episode again, guys, but the next time it's gonna be with a guy.
Please, yes, I would
such
love
a good
that.
To get a guy's perspective.
You
Someone
need a
neutral.
panel. You got to do a panel.
Someone neutral. Someone not
Someone
like-
neutral. Yeah, definitely would. Yeah, just so stay tuned for that episode.
Oh, that's
Please.
funny.
That's gonna be
I gotta
season
be
2.
there.
I think so.
But that's pretty much. We talked so much.
We did.
We did.
We
It's been
talked
like
a lot.
6-7 hours.
We talked a lot.
It
It hasn't been that
because
long.
listen, guys, I love sex. I love hearing about
We
sex.
haven't heard
too.
enough from
I
you
love-
about sex. is
Bro,
the
I'm
thing.
closing it out.
It's just
were.
weird because you had me on here,
She's so
sob
good at that,
storying,
though.
and you guys pretty much, oh, we're right here for you. And then we end the episode. I don't feel vindicated or anything. You know what? We need to hear more.
Do you
So
want
the
to
next
ask her a
panel-
question?
No. The next panel we have when we bring
Okay.
guys in, we're gonna hear more from Easel. Okay?
Are we though? Because
No.
she's so
It's
good at asking
necessary.
questions. So
it's
I
my
We're gonna ask some
job to
questions.
dig deep.
And by we, I mean
and-
you're gonna ask some questions, and I'm gonna be watching.
I mean, she also shared some though.
I shared a
Like
lot.
she wasn't
I shared
completely
a
like
lot.
shut off.
I shared
Nah.
a lot.
I love
Guys,
for
comment
you.
below if you want to hear more.
If you have any questions for Hazel, if you want to dig deep in her sex life,
Yes. Send in some questions you felt that weren't answered or that are just searing in you and you need to get answers.
And this is how we're closing it off, baby.
Absolutely. Let these two perfect girls that are not perfect, answer your questions. I'll be on the sidelines watching with you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I think I shared quite a bit. The next time we talk about this topic, it'll be mostly from the guy's perspective.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. When we bring the guy in, we're gonna be like, okay, what's it like?
We need to know. Yeah,
I'm so curious about like the male perspective because obviously the only thing I can like deduce is my own and my own female brain.
Get detailed with these guys.
Oh yes.
Guys, you tend to, in the presence of a woman, you want to seem all debonair and suave. Get down and dirty with the deets. We want to know. I want to know.
Please validate Micah.
Micah, actually,
look at her.
Micah, send me the info of a guy that you had relations with that I can bring on.
I'm gonna bring him in, and you guys can ask me questions.
They're the male perspective.
I'm gonna drug him and throw him in the trunk.
The question's gonna be like,
ever hooked up with Micah? Please.
Don't say that. It's gonna be like, so how was oh my god, no.
It's not that bad, guys. It's not that bad.
I'm gonna ask questions like, so, was Micah the best, or was she the best? True or true?
True.
And
possibly true. And it's okay, because we already know subsection B is possibly true or true.
Yeah.
And we know you're gonna put true.
You can't even lie.
Yeah.
Because I'm great. Now, if you are circa 2011, you can just fuck off.
If you don't exist, circa 2011,
don't watch this.
Don't fucking leave a comment. Get the fuck out of here.
But also, real quick, guys,
I
want you to go ahead and tell us how great we look. Because, this hair,
I know.
Yeah, we dyed our hair for this.
It took time. We dyed it and grew it out real quick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So,
I mean, and if you've seen me in the first earlier episodes, this is the best I'm ever gonna look, y'all.
Literally, because Renz doesn't wear any makeup. She's just like...
I just come on.
I've seen her with eyeliner.
No eyeliner.
With eyeliner.
No, I know. Of course.
I'm like, don't tell her. I've seen her with eyeliner.
In all of the episodes we've recorded
thus far,
just blank.
Nothing.
Face. Yeah,
just me.
It's
my most authentic self.
We love it. Okay, we're doing.
We're digressing.
Okay, so going back into our closing statements. Thank you guys so much for listening again. And I hope you enjoyed all this information. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all of that fun stuff on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, we're everywhere that you can listen to podcasts on. Also, don't forget to comment below with all of the answers to the questions. And if you're listening to this just like a podcast and you're not, into the whole YouTube thing, you're not looking at the visual, go ahead and go to YouTube just for a little bit, at least like 3 minutes. You don't have to watch the whole thing if that's not your thing, but just like, Michael wants you to look at, we put in effort.
We put in work. I put in work.
We look cute, guys.
We look. So go ahead, look at that, and tell your friends, tell your family, watch this with your best friend. If you're afraid to ask questions about sex to a particular person, just go to the video and go to the specific part where we ask the question and be like, hey, can you answer? Answer the question. And you guys can also do that. Like, you can email us to perfectpodcast@gmail.com. Any questions you want us to pose to the audience, if you're too scared to pose a question yourself and direct it to the person like a roundabout way. I would love to be your messenger. Okay, that was a long outro, but we love you guys. Thanks so much for keeping up with us and listening. And if this is your first episode, I applaud you. Thanks for checking in with us. And that's all we got. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Jesus Christ.
Fuck these bitches.
That was in unison.
It was. Okay, let's stop the camera, please.
Oh, that was a good one.